Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk About It. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about growing up Mexican. My mom and my dad are both full Mexicans. My mom is from Michoacan and my dad is from Zacatecas. I want to start off by saying that I am so proud of being Mexican. Um, ever since like moving to Florida, it's been a cultural shock for sure. Like from the very beginning, from being surrounded by like so many Mexicans in California to being in a place where they're like nowhere to be seen. And I remember one time I was going to the stores to get stuff for a carne asada, and I was having so much trouble getting or finding the carne. So I remember going to like three stores, and the last one I was gonna try was Publix. But anyways, I went and I was looking for carne for the carne asada. And I remember going up to this one worker and he was working like where they make the sandwiches because there's like they have like a little area where they make sandwiches and stuff. And I remember going up to him and asking him if they had carne asada. And I remember him looking at me like so kind of like, are you really asking me that question type of thing? And he's like, I asked him, "Do you know what that is?" And he looked at me and he was like, "Yeah, I know what that is." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, can you show me? Like, can you show me where it's at?" He's like, "Yeah, follow me." And he points at a pico de gallo and he's like, "There it is." So I looked at him and I was like, "This is not carne asada." And he's like, "Oh, well, like I'm sorry, I don't know really what you're talking about." So I kind of just like was whatever. That's the moment that I knew it was going to be so hard to find anything here because it's just there's not a lot of Mexican, people here. They're all like more down. And they're like Cuban, Dominican, but Mexican it's so hard to find. And I it's been really hard because I love Mexican food. Like that's like my favorite thing. And it's been so hard because they don't have a lot of restaurants here, and if they do, they're not that great. So, I could make the food, but it's so hard to find the ingredients. And then on top of that, like what if I'm lazy and I want to just get up one morning on a Sunday and go get menudo? And I remember back in California, there was this one restaurant that me and my husband would go to all the time. And we would go every Sunday morning and we would go get menudo. Or like after church, we would go get menudo or pozole. He would get the chilaquiles. And I have not been able to find a good place for menudo here. So it's been so hard. But I love, like, I don't know if I'm biased or what, but I think Mexican food is the best food out there. Because I remember when I was living there, my family would get together every weekend, like every weekend with no failing. And I remember my husband like telling me because he's not used to that, like togetherness of a family. So he would tell me, "Don't you get tired of seeing your family?" And it does get tiring, but it's just something so beautiful to me. And like now being so far away, I would give anything to be able to do that again. It was just a really good time. And I loved how, you know, we would just get together. Like my favorite thing during the holidays was we would get together, we would make tamales, and it would be like my grandma, my tias, my mom, my sisters, and we would just be making tamales with some, uh, like hot chocolate from the abuelita hot chocolate, which is the best. But we would be drinking the hot chocolate with some pan dulce, and then we'd just be talking and laughing and chismeando, and I loved it. It was like so during the holidays because I was here during the holidays. I didn't get to be with my family, and that was like the hardest thing for me was not being able to make the tamales and be together and hang out and chismear while the guys did their own thing, like they went to go fishing or they did a bonfire outside. It was just a nice thing to do together. And I always tell my husband when I grow up, I want to be able to give those traditions or pass those traditions down to my children because I want them to know the values, of the values that my parents and my grandparents gave to us. And I want them to be proud of being Mexican. A lot of people are not proud of it, and that's something so sad to me. And I'm so blessed to have been able to, be like really have that Mexican culture, culture, culture. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but having that Mexican, traditions in our lives and or in my life, and being able to pass that down to my kids and not be embarrassed, not be ashamed of anything like that. And I loved it. And I also think that the mentality of Mexicans are so different from other people. I'm not saying everybody's the same, but I think Mexicans are such hard workers for the most part. They will work in the fields. They do the most uncomfortable jobs that nobody else wants to do so that they can provide for their families. Like, I know my mom, she cleans houses, and it's something that I'm so proud of her for because cleaning houses is not easy. I went one time with her and I was cleaning houses and I was over there wanting to give up midday already. And it was just something that was like, wow, like, I will always appreciate what she does because it's not an easy job. You think, oh, I know for a fact, I know me. It's hard for me to clean, my house or my area. Imagine cleaning somebody else's area, somebody else's house, their cochinero. Like, that's not yours to clean, but you're getting paid to do it, so you're gonna do it. And my mom, she does it, and when she does it good. Like, I remember going one time and I was like, what do you want me to do? She had me scrubbing the little bottoms of the walls with a toothbrush and Clorox. I was there. I just did that all day for 8 hours. My knees were all practically bleeding and everything. But I just thought she does this. She does this at her age. She's not like super old or nothing, but I can't believe that she does this every single, every 2 weeks or every single day. So anybody listening from California, in between Fresno and Bakersfield, call her up because she will clean every little part of your house. She don't joke around, guys. She's a savage. But I really, really, really am very proud of her because she just does what she needs to do, and she's been doing what she needs to do since we were young. She was always very much in action, always wanting to do stuff, always wanting to provide, always. So I'm very, very, very proud of the mentality that she gave to me and my sisters, and to be able to, if you're gonna want to do something, or if you're gonna want something in life, you need to work for it, you need to go for it. And that was very much her. And honestly, it's all my family. My grandparents, they're savages too. Like, my grandma, my grandpa, they don't care, man. They'll go through anything and they'll still be working. My grandpa has 2 knee surgery. He's gotten his toe cut off by cutting some wood. He put his foot, he was holding the wood by his foot, and the machine went crazy and just sliced his toe, and he still went to work, and he don't care. My grandma, I guess I was trying to figure out the story, but I guess that she and my grandpa were driving on the freeway and they seen like this string. And I think it was like, they said it was a specific string that's used for, like, I don't know, to tie stuff down, or it's like the strong string. So they saw it and they're like, we're not letting that go to waste. That's another thing. If Mexicans see something and they think they can put it to use, they will not let it go to waste. Somebody else's trash is another person's treasure. For sure, that's how Mexicans are. Like, I know my grandparents be picking up botes and like cans and all these things, and they be making money off of that stuff. So, anyways, yeah, they were driving and they saw the string, and my grandpa's like, oh, I'm gonna get off to the side and we're gonna roll it up and we're gonna take it with us. And for some reason, the string got wrapped around her finger and got stuck. And I don't know how really it happened, but the string sliced her finger straight off. Like, she's missing a finger, like half of a finger. And I remember, I always forget that she lost her finger, because I remember one time we were sitting down, we were talking, and I remember seeing her wedding ring on the wrong hand. And I remember telling her, like, Grandma, why do you have that ring in it's the wrong hand. And I remember just her going like, seriously? And it was it was cut off. I was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, yeah, I don't want to have it on this finger. Like, it's embarrassing. But I remember thinking she was so, like, casual about it. I even remember, like, a couple days after it happened, she had it all bandaged and stuff, and she was still there making tortillas and making food and doing this and doing that. I know if that was me, I would be probably passed out. I probably would have passed out, because imagine that, seeing your finger just, and I think she even said she didn't feel it. Like, it happened so fast, so clean. It was such a clean cut that she didn't feel it, and she just felt the blood. And that's when she looked down and she was missing half her finger. And I just remember thinking, man, she's such a savage. She don't care for nothing. And that's how, at least that's how my mom, my aunts, my grandparents, that's how they are. They're savages. I feel like they were built so different back then than we are now. Like now, and no hate if like for any of this, but now like everybody has anxiety and depression and everybody's going through stuff. And back then you had depression, I'm gonna put Vaporu on your head. Or you had this, I'm gonna put Vaporu on like everything was fixed with Vaporu. And now it's like we have all these medications, we have all these things, and it's like it's so crazy to think, back then it was such a different way of being, and also like how emotional or how they were with each other. Because I mean, it's harder for the past generation to be as emotional and as loving as this generation is. And I remember, I love my mom and I know she loves me because of her actions. So but I remember being younger and I remember thinking like my mom has not said I love you to me, like, really, ever. And after my parents divorced and she found, her husband and stuff, I remember one time she called me or I called her, I don't know what. And we were talking and stuff. And then I go, okay, bye, mom. I love you. Because I always told her I loved you, because you never know. It might be the last time that you talk to her. But I always tell her, I love you. This woman, so nonchalant, so como que nada. She goes, I love you too. Guys, when I tell you that my heart was, wow, I thought that she was dying. I thought that that was the last time I was going to speak to my mom. That was it for her. And I remember telling her, Mom, are you dying, Mom? Because you've never, ever told me that you love me. And she just started laughing and she's like, ay, mija, tú sabes que te amo. And I'm like, Mom, you never told me. Like, you've never told me that. So I really thought something was wrong. I think for like a whole week I was over there crying because I thought she was dying and she wasn't telling me. Because that's another thing. Mexican parents, they won't tell you that they're dying until they're dead. I hate that they don't tell you. Being so far away and not knowing what's going on. Every time me and my mom talk, she's always like, I was like, Mom, what's going on? Like, are you okay? She's like, I'm fine. She can be in the hospital. She can have her leg cut off. And she's said she's fine. And I'm like, seriously, like, how do I not know my grandpa was in the hospital a couple weeks ago? Nobody told me. Those fakes did not tell me that he was in the hospital. I had to find out because my mom nonchalantly just told me over the phone, oh yeah, when your grandpa was in the hospital. I was like, what the heck? My grandpa's in the hospital? I'm telling you, they are like so like nothing phases them. Nothing phases them. The old generation, nothing phases them. And now, if I don't know, hit my finger on the door, I feel like I'm gonna die. I have all the symptoms in the world. I lost blood flow to my finger. I have to get it cut off. Like, it's just so different, now to then. But I love hearing like all the stories and everything that my parents and my grandparents tell me because it was such a funny time back then. I'm pretty sure back then it wasn't funny to be sleeping on the ground, but now that they talk about it, it's such a funny thing and we laugh about it and we're so grateful to where we're at now, where they're at now, because they worked their butts off to get to where they're at. They're hard workers. Like, they did what they did and they're at a good place now, So, but yeah, they're back then it was crazy. Even like their scary stories are different from now, now it's like they had a whole Llorona and like things following them and witches and all this stuff. I love sitting down and I love hearing all their stories of their past relationships and their past ghost stories, which I'm hoping I can get my mom to sit down with me one day that I see her and then we could talk about like all the spooky things that she's experienced, because I feel like that's so cool to be able to like, hear all her stories and be able to like see it from her point of view. But yeah, guys, it's something so beautiful to be able to really hear like where your parents came from, your grandparents, how hard they worked, and to be able to really appreciate like everything that they've gone through and they've experienced. And it's something that I will be so grateful and so proud of, like, to the day that I die. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to share a little bit about that, growing up Mexican, how it was for me. Like I said, it's different for everybody else, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and like the video. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you guys can get notified every time that I drop a video. I hope that you guys stay blessed and stay safe. And I will see you guys on the next episode.